your name tag. So we got Ayana Ingram. She's with the MES. She's an MES intern from Alabama A&M University. Then we have Dominique Jenkins, an MES intern who's from Morris College. Then we have Jabril McKeevy, who is an MES intern from South Carolina State University. Then we have Belinda Owusu, did I do that right? Everybody has a name badge there. Just look for your name, little beautiful table tent right in front of you. You're on the head table. And then we're going to turn this over to Mr. Brown. And then I left off at Kiara Thorpe, who is an MES intern from Spelman College. And then Alton Turner, who is an MES intern from Elizabeth City State University. We welcome each and every one of you. And Mr. Brown, don't get too comfortable now. Your name is at the top. So please give our entire panel, as well as Clarence Brown, the program manager, a warm welcome as they present their panel.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I'm going to be the least of the people up here, so you don't have to ask me any questions. But when they get up and speak, engage them and ask them some questions. I really enjoyed the last presentation, and the last presentation really works hand in hand with what we were going to talk about, because we had Ms. Kristen, who was talking about how she really didn't know what she wanted to do. And so in high school, she had an opportunity to be engaged by environmental science. And so what MES is all about, well, I'll tell you about, I'll get into my presentation, I'll tell you. But Pre-College University, we're a 501c3 organization, and our total goal is all about engaging people in their area of passion and their purpose, and helping them to align that with what they want to do in life. And so we try to help students to figure out, what they really enjoy, and then kind of help them to wove that into their college or educational experience. We really work with students from around 12 to 24. And so that's what we do as Pre-College University. MES, or Mentorship for Environmental Scholarship Program, what we do is we recruit students from minority serving institutions to go to the Department of Energy labs. Oh, I'm supposed to take it over here. All right, I'm sorry. Which way? There we go. I'm good. Oh, Jabril helped me out. He sounds crazy. I was pointing toward me. I was trying to click myself to change. Okay. There we go. All right, we're good now. Okay. So we recruit students who are rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors at accredited institutions to go to labs during the summer. The majors vary, which is how it actually perfectly ties in, because if your major is of interest to what is going on at the Department of Energy, then you can apply for the program. Now, the minimum GPA is a 3.0, but the major thing we want students to understand is the Department of Energy takes a wide variety of disciplines to work for the Department of Energy. So if you have an interest in the environment, environmental justice, environmental sciences, and you are an English major or a biology major or an engineering major, then this internship is right for you. And so what we have here is we have students who took an 8 to 10 week paid internship. We paid for them to get to their labs. We paid for their housing, and we gave them a generous stipend. And we did professional development with them. And so they went to the labs and they were able to take what they came with and combine it with what was going on at the lab and become successful with the MES program. So we're going to have our students to come up and explain to you or tell you what their experience was. First up, we're going to have Ms. Ayana Ingram.
Good morning. My name is EJ Ingram, and my portion of the presentation is on environmental science and political science, the unforeseen overlap. Okay, a little background on myself. I'm from Ozark, Alabama. I attend Alabama Agricultural and Mechanical University in Normal, Alabama, where I'm a sophomore political science major with a minor in sociology. Okay, the Department of Energy. The Department of Energy is a government-funded agency whose mission is to advance and innovate the tech and energy in our country, while also addressing environmental and nuclear policies. They also have labs all over the U.S. My demographics of my internship, it was located in Savannah State University from June to July. I was a freshman during this internship. My instructor was Dr. Kenneth Sajuan, and I was paired with 4 amazing young women, Kendall, Kristen, Dominique, and Melanie. The influent water collection was one of the experiments conducted during the internship. This experiment covers these 3 questions: what, how, and why. The what. With this experiment, my colleagues and I, as well as Dr. Sajuan, wanted to find out what minerals and other factors were contained in the water filtered in as well as out of the homes of the residents in Savannah, Georgia. The how. Throughout the internship, we would travel to 4 waterways treatment plants: President Street, Wilshire, Georgetown, and Crossroads, to collect the waters coming in, which is the influent, and the waters going out, which is the effluent. These trips were really cool, but it smelled really bad because of the influent water. Once we collected all the samples, we were able to send it to UGA to find out the minerals as well as the hardness of the water collected. The why. This experiment was not just scientific, but it opened my eyes as a political science major to how important it is for policies and procedures in the local and state levels when it comes to the water we consume and bathe in every day. Flint, Michigan, an impoverished city, is a real-time example of how important it is for people to communicate with their local officials and to speak out on issues that are occurring in their communities before it's too late. This experience as an intern for the Mentorship for Environmental Scholars Program was an amazing one. It was completely unexpected, and I'm grateful for every day to be able to say that I gained great knowledge and great connections with the individuals on this panel, Ms. Belinda Downing, Dr. Sajuan, and Mr. Clarence Brown. As an intern, I was able to see my future in a totally different light. Working in a field that I thought was completely left from my major ended up intertwining together and showed me that my interest in policy can also be used to gain knowledge in environmental policy or environmental law. Attending the TREAT workshop really brought the experience full circle by being able to interact with not just people whose sole focus was environmental science, but people that were teachers and city council members whose goal was to preserve our natural resources for generations to come. And that day, I was able to really embrace the thought that I could really do anything I wanted to be, regardless of my field of study. Also at the street workshop, I was able to understand the importance of informing those in lower income neighborhoods and communities on environmental challenges and changes that are occurring around them, such as zoning laws when it comes to landfills and factories that can be put in their neighborhoods. After seeing the people in Flint lives turned upside down during the lead poisoning, it is so important for not only me, but this panel as well as you guys to inform those who are in racial and socioeconomic disparities to become aware of what's going on around them. As I continue my education, I plan on attending a university of my choosing to obtain a master's in public policy so that I can continue to serve world-class people in our country so they are no longer overlooked. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Dominique Jenkins, and this environmental science and mathematics. An introduction about me. I'm from Washington, Georgia. I attend Morris College. I'm a senior in mathematics major with minor in cybersecurity. Environmental science. Environmental science is a branch of biology focused on the study of the relationships of the natural world and the relationships of organisms in their environment. It's the fair treatment of and meaningful involvement of all people. Math helps to uncover the fundamental conflicts between human civilization and logic of nature. In other words, it is used to understand and effectively deal with economic and environmental issues. Department of Energy. The Department of Energy is concerned with United States policies regarding the safety and handling of nuclear material. The Department of Energy, also DOE, is responsible of developing policies for effective use of energy conservation, regulating oil pipelines, and encouraging new sources of energy. Modern-day technology and human actions are slowly ruining and draining the planet's ecosystems and natural resources. Having environmental science help introduce and enlighten people about global issues. Environmental science helps to preserve the environment, and basic math is used to help seek answers in societies such as how safe is food and water being distributed to our community. Basic mathematics relate to current environmental issues such as pollution, availability of resources, and environmental cleanup and population growth. Some of the basic math used is ratios, percents, growth rates, graphs, scatter plots, and it allows for organized observations with statistical methods. Leaching columns. Leaching columns is one of the experiments we've done in the internship. As Ayana stated, I was working alongside her and Dr. Sajuan at Savannah State University. And the leaching column was designed to test the effect of FGD, also known as fly ash, and chicken manure at varying rates. We calculated the average for 8 weeks of each, total dissolved solids, electrical conductivity, and temperature. The graph shows the average results of through up to 4 weeks, and then we put all 8 weeks up there as a large graph. So I just did week 1 to 4, and it shows the average results of the total dissolved solids, electrical conductivity, and temperature of each solution. We experience a diversity of waves in the normal everyday life experience, such as ultrasound waves, electromagnetic waves, transverse waves, light waves, sound waves, waves in general. A variety of waves on the surface of rivers, lakes, and oceans affect the coastal environment, and mathematical models have allowed accurate predictions of wave evolutions. Mathematics help to better understand the natural phenomena in the real world, such as sea levels, how fast they rise, and how slow they rise, and the tides and everything. And hurricanes, tornadoes, travels, spread. Sorry. Some of the experience gained is knowing the facts about inorganic and organic contaminants can help eliminate the scare and fear in our communities. Being able to help civilians better understand the importance of keeping out our environment clean, encouraging young men and women that a variety of characteristics are needed in this field of study. My conclusion, mathematics play a major role in the development of simplifying framework in the study of complexity of nature. And I'm going to end with a quote from Albert Einstein: "The whole of science is nothing more than a refinement of everyday thinking." Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Jerome Hughes, and this is my portion of the presentation on my spare parts through the Savannah River remediation. A little background on myself: I'm from Aiken, South Carolina, and I attend South Carolina State University, and I'm a junior mechanical engineer. Purpose of spare parts. The spare parts program is responsible for the improvement and reliability of all processing systems used at various life cycles. The spare parts program is responsible for the procurement or purchasing, exchanging, or replacement of parts to ensure steadily and efficient running of these systems. Entire assignment. Spare parts. Former database of choice was FBTS, better known as Built Material Tracking System, And now the two databases that I currently use are Iridium and PeopleSoft. The ultimate goal is to accurately and precisely transfer the spare parts information to the new software and reestablish the ties between CLIs or component location identifiers and MIDs, which are material identification numbers, and I had to add old MIDs. And for my personal assignment, there are 400,000 parts and spare parts, but I was given 8,000 of those. Steps in this process. First, I'll enter the MID or material identification number to the PeopleSoft inventory Excel sheet. Then, if needed, log the critical reason type and then match symbols. The critical reason type is the priority of the part and how important it is to the system, 01 being most important and 04 being least important. Then I'll log my actions for verification of my supervisors and then do that task. After that, I'll enter the CLI to the CLI material ID update system and tie the two, update the document number, and then update that status to the data ID. Learning experience. I learned about spare parts leading into EWPF, or better known as the Advanced Waste Processing Facility, and how the overall site operates. I learned that not only knowing knowledge about something is needed, problem solving, but being hands-on is just as vital. And I learned the value of teamwork, which is essential for completing tasks and form lifelong relationships inside and out of the workplace. Had with these interns. Problem between mechanical engineering and environmental science. In my experience, using the two new softwares, you're eventually able to keep a steady movement away from the tank farms. We step up with evaporation of water to reduce volume. We did chemical treatment to inhibit corrosion. We cut down on decomposition of organic materials, radiolysis of water to reduce hydrogen. We were able to keep up the movement of sludge from tank farms to EWPM, and we helped with the transportation, storage, and verified and solidified. This internship had a very positive impact on me. It enhanced my desire to be a mechanical engineer. I felt like I contributed a whole lot to the spare parts program just as an intern, and it allowed me to work in a professional environment. It has given me a solid foundation to progress in my future as a student and in my career. And I'm very thankful for this opportunity and everything that came along with it. And thank you for this, for Johnny, for funding us, and then along with the spare parts program, I accomplished a lot. It helped to come back next summer.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Belinda Owusu, and this summer I got to work at the effluent treatment project in the Savannah River remediation in Aiken, South Carolina. And today I'm going to talk about biology and its influence on environmental science. So a little background, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, Mableton, Georgia, when I was called down there. And that's where I go to school at Spelman College. I'm currently a sophomore. I now study psychology and public health. And in the future, I do plan on maintaining a master's degree in global public health and health administration. And some of my hobbies do include photography, video editing, and travel and blogging. So how do they relate? So with biology and environmental science, both of these factors do in fact relate. It's understood that biology is the study of life, whereas environmental science looks into the resources of biological, physical, and information sciences. Basically, it's just important to understand how living organisms relate into the environment. And so over the summer, I got the chance to work as an environmental compliance intern and at the effluent treatment project, and my site focused on wastewater treatment. And so what wastewater treatment looks into is how to filter and clean the process of water and returning it back to the water cycle so it doesn't harm the environment. I mostly made sure that our site and other sites made state regulations, which explains this image of the EPA and how they would come onto our site and make sure that all regulated water filtration would work through. So in a biological perspective, before interning, I was able to do a study focused on biodiversity and water sampling. My freshman year in college. Biodiversity basically looked into the variety of living organisms in a certain environment. Pictured on the screen are images taken in Arabian Mountain in Georgia, where I looked and studied water sampling in different locations of the mountain, areas such as the lake, pond, and moss regions. This project gave an understanding on which area had the most living organisms. As well as my time as an intern, I also did water sampling, but not in the context of biodiversity. Instead, I also looked into the regulatory practices and the outfalls so that water in these areas were not contaminated. Inspections were made quarterly to make sure that the environment around the facility were not affected. And in conclusion, overall, working as an environmental compliance and authority intern opened a new liking towards public health. I like to bring this focus in a global perspective as well. Public health tends to focus on the health of a population, whereas an ECA intern, I look more towards the environmental health of the facility. This internship afforded me a great understanding of environmental work, and I'm glad to say that I was a part of this opportunity. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Okay, great. I'm Kiera Thorpe, and I did my internship this summer was at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. So I know we have a few Tennessee people in here, so hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm from Durham, North Carolina, and if anybody knows where that is, it's where Duke is, and I know am I ECU fan, so, but I'm from Durham, North Carolina, and I attend Spelman College, the #1 HBCU, my peers are here. But it's an all-women's college, and it's in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm the rising star. So my major is English, and a lot of the time this summer I got the question, why did you come to OML? Why did you choose to be in a STEM-focused area, which I will hopefully answer in the next slide. So this is the mission of safety services. This is where I was positioned in. The mission is just to promote a safety culture or a safety culture and make sure that everyone is following or in compliance with DOE. And I work under these people listed on the screen, and my main go-to person was Mr. Chad Reflow. So my main project was the Facility Information Center Sampling Project. Sampling Project, which we call it FIC for short. And basically, before I came in, they sampled for beryllium and lead, just to check the buildings because they were knocking some down. It's about an 8-mile campus. So they were knocking some buildings down and wanted to make sure that they weren't putting anybody else in danger when knocking the buildings down. And because I'm not a STEM major, I did not know what the effects of beryllium and lead were. So I had to look all of this stuff up, and I found out that these can cause some really hazardous diseases and cancers. So it was very important that we were in compliance and made sure that everybody was safe at all times. So what I did was database entry, but essentially that was a big Excel worksheet, like huge. And it had all of the room numbers and tons of rooms in each building. And these were only 2 buildings that we did. 4508, there was another building. And I just categorized those raw data results and just input them whether or not they had beryllium or lead testing done, or if it was found that it was contaminated or anything like that. So with the GSTEM mentorship program, I had to find my fit at the lab because I am an English major, and they hired me to do some technical school writing, but that's not what I ended up doing. I had to find my fit. So I inquired with Ms. Deborah Bowling, who is the manager of the Diversity and International Office, and Ms. Shauna Palmer, who is the Graduate and University Recruitment manager. And I just want to know what I could do to help increase exposure for the lab, because students at my HBCU didn't really know much about ORNL, what kind of internships they offered, or anything like that. So, because they have a close link with UT, which is the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. So what I got from that was a response from Ms. Deborah Bowling, and she referred me to Ms. Candace Halbert, who is Elizabeth's reflectometer, scientific associate. You know, I don't know what that is. But she's super, super smart, really brilliant. And she started a program called the GSTEM Mentorship Program. And it was a program that her and 4 other women of color wanted to implement in Vine Middle School, which is an urban middle school in Knoxville, Tennessee. And she just wanted to increase or maintain that kind of interest that girls may have at that age for science or STEM subjects, because a lot of the time gender roles and patriarchal society can sway them away from sciences and more into the arts, which is fine because that's what I am. But we need women in those fields too. So I saw that was a really important project that I felt like I needed to be a part of. So what I did for that program was I reviewed some proposals and did some summary work. I scheduled some tours for them, and I created their introductory PowerPoint. So as you can see on the screen, I'm holding a goose. And I did a goose roundup, which was really interesting. As you know, geese poop a lot. And because we're at a lab, we wanted to make sure that they didn't have radiation or they weren't contaminated. So because they poop a lot, we didn't want one of our workers to step in it and then track it all over the campus, and that would be bad. So we rounded all the geese up in the nearby parks because the campus is so big, and it's some like uncultivated land there too. So we rounded all the geese up and we checked them for radiation and everything. Another interesting project that I was a part of was the Pokemon Go GPS coordinates. That was a big issue too, because the lab is a national lab and it's a security issue. I had to go around to all the Pokemon stops on the lab and make sure that we contact Google or contact Pokemon and make sure, hey, you guys gotta get this off. Because you can't have random people come into the lab and thinking that that's okay. So that was a really cool project of my summer too. So my future aspirations are to become the high school and middle school English teacher that I desire to be. I feel like this internship helped me understand what I'm passionate about, what I like, what I don't like, and who I want to advocate for. And I also want to go all the way to my PhD or all the way to my EDD. But the next step would be to get my Master's of Arts in Teaching from the university of my choice. And maybe I'll open my own school someday. So. I thought that it was, because we're all HBCU students, I thought it was really important that we bring up the issue why representation matters. Because it does. It's important to have multiple experiences or a multi-dimensional workforce or employee background. Just because you don't want everyone coming in with this one voice, then how can you hear others if you constantly have this one vision or this one focus, if that makes any sense. So yeah, GSTEM helped me, with that program, it helped me understand that even better. So as a result, I understood why I was there, and I understood that the sciences and English are a lot, or safety services anyway, are a lot alike. In English, you have 3 different texts there, and they all sound the same, but they're not the same. They serve different purposes. One is possessive, one is if you're trying to say they are, and one is if you're talking about a location. So I had to understand that safety services, we do the same thing, but for different areas. So we want to make sure that people are safe or practicing a safety culture or promoting a safety culture, whether you're in a classroom or in a lab or in the field, it doesn't matter. We just wanted a safety culture everywhere. And a thing that I would charge to anybody else is to inspire and spark change and to ask a ton of questions, because that's the only way you'll know. And people won't know who you are or what you're interested in if you don't tell them. So, thank you.
So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Sorry. So good morning, everyone. I'm Alton Turner. I too worked at Savannah River Remediation over the summer, but instead I worked with the Waste Disposal Authority. All right, just to tell you a little, just to let you all know a little bit about me, I'm from Elizabeth City, North Carolina, where I attend Elizabeth City State University. I am a former student athlete. I'm a senior who's dual majoring in mathematics and engineering technology. And just to let you all know about my life goal, I plan on to invent or innovate something that changes the world. Okay, so how does my major and the internship experience coincide? I had enhanced my critical thinking skills. I also developed better time management skills. So, for instance, I had worked 410s over the summer. I'm pretty sure most of you all know what 410s are, but for those of you that don't, 410s are working 4 days, 10 hours a day. So I would have to wake up at 4 in the morning to make sure I was at work at 6:30, since I had an hour commute to work, and it was pretty different from going to regular college courses where you don't have to wake up till like 10 or 12. So yes, and my comprehension of complex theories and practices, I learned how to take the knowledge I've gained in the classroom and apply it to the real world issues. So I felt that was very important. And I developed a wide range of knowledge since I was working at a nuclear facility. I don't really got into waste or anything, so that was great. So what did I do over the summer? I had to develop an Excel file that uses code or VBA in Microsoft Excel. This program will allow PAs to generate large histograms and scatter plots to give a better to analyze data from a large data table. So this data table was from 100 to 1,000 rows and 100 to 1,000 columns. That's a lot of data to analyze. So the PAs will be able to do this in 3 simple steps. All they had to do was choose the worksheet with the data on it. 2, identify the location to output the data, so choosing the worksheet which they plan on to output the data. And 3, choose the first column of the original data they wish to grab. So after completing these tasks, the program will run and it will generate these histogram and scatter plots on different worksheets. Each worksheet will have 4 data sets, including each column's own histogram and scatter plot. So basically, I took a job that would take months and I turned it into a job that would only take minutes, which would help the company to save time and money. So just a couple of quick facts about the program. Oh, and not to mention, I haven't dealt with Microsoft Excel since high school, so I actually refreshed myself and also teach myself how to code, because I didn't know you could code in Microsoft Excel, so I had to learn the language as well. Just a couple of quick facts about my program. It has 900 lines of executable code and 987 lines of code overall, if you include the comments and stuff I recommend for the other program that goes to use it. The program can be separated into 4 functions. The main function where the user prompts the user to do the simple task that I told you to do, the task I spoke about earlier. and it also calls the other 12 subroutines. The other 12 subroutines can be classified in 3 functions: a scatter plot function, a histogram function, and a loop function. Each column has its own loop function, and I did do until loops. So after, for each column, runs this loop, it calls the histogram function and the scatter plot function. And it will keep doing that for each column for this master data table, which is a lot, okay? And if I haven't said before, I use do until loops with nested if else statements. And here is the first half of the main function. And this is pretty much where, like I said, it just prompts the user to do the 3 simple steps and it calls it like the 12 subroutines. This is the second half, and I don't know if you all can see, I'm pretty sure you can't wait. It has do loop C and do loop B, which I'll talk about later. So this is do loop A. Do loop A was pretty simple to make since it was only dealing with the first column of data. So column A, that's called do loop A. It was pretty simple to make, but however, as you see, with do loop B is more dynamic because I ran into a problem with my data overwriting the previous data before it was it was graphing the data with respect to the previous data, not the average of the overall. So, okay, these are the results of the programs after it ran. Each worksheet would look like this. It would have, so for instance, for the top left is column A, which is the histogram and scatter plot for column A, and then on the right of the column of column A is column C's. So each graph also has the title of the data it graphed on. So for instance, if you can see for column A histogram, it has like tank 9, and then on the right for C is tank 11. And this is column B and D. This is the bottom half that was cut off from the previous image. So the upside of this internship, I learned how to finally model using GoldSim. And I advanced my Microsoft Excel skills. Like I said, I had to reteach myself Microsoft Excel, or refresh myself in Microsoft Excel, and teach myself how to code in Microsoft Excel. I developed better networking skills because, as we all know, networking is a key to creating connections that will benefit one's future. And this was a confidence builder because I learned that my life goal isn't as ridiculous as some may say or think it is, and I truly believe I can accomplish it. And I became more aware of what's going on in the world by working at a nuclear facility because like most of us don't really worry about nuclear waste or anything. We just go about daily life. So I became aware of the nuclear part of life. And that's it.
Thank y'all. So, they learned a lot this summer, right? They were nervous about getting up in front of you all. And so, we got in here last night and practiced, and I tried to practice and prep them for questions. And so, we have about 30 minutes for questions.
Great job, you guys. We've got 2 microphones. We're going to ask you to get us microphones. Identify where you're from and what your question is. You're in charge, Mr. Brown. I just want to tell them what a great job they did.
Oh,
Great job.
I didn't do anything. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for your presentations. I enjoyed all of them. My name is Kyla Mates. I'm an engineer at the New York Power Authority. And I think a few of you touched on advocacy. I think that it's since just kind of the last few weeks and the last few months, I feel as though the public has got sort of run away from the narrative that the EPA and the DOE are kind of just, they stop companies from progressing and lots of regulation, and yet I feel as though through your internships, you're finding out the way in which the DOE and the EPA and organizations like that are really protecting the environment and protecting us. And I just wondered, from your internships, how you were sort of relating that to your, in terms of colleagues and other students and the kind of advocacy that we're going to need amongst young people, just through your investment. And I think Kiara touched on this a little bit because you're not really a STEM major, but how are you relating this kind of at college and in your everyday life so that that narrative of these organizations being things that are negative as opposed to things that protect us and our everyday life? And any of you can answer, but thanks again for that.
You wanted to? No, okay. You wanted to know how the EPA and the DOE. No, I just wanted to find out how, whether in your everyday life, you would have more of I do. I found myself, when I came back to Spelman, telling all my student friends, like, oh gosh, you know about ORNL, you know about all the things they do there, because it's located in Eastern Tennessee, and Eastern Tennessee is very different in my experience in Durham and in Atlanta, because both of those areas are a little liberal, whereas I found Oak Ridge and the minority population to not be close to what I thought it would be. Though there's this not too far, or I had, people of color in my office, it didn't count for how many that were in my area. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I just felt a need for more people who look like me, or came from similar backgrounds, or marginalized groups. That was my thing. For people of marginalized groups to be exposed to the class and to just have that experience, because I went to a historically black high school and now I go to a historically black college. So my experiences there were totally different than what I had at the lab, and I feel like I needed it to open me up to environmental justice and to issues I wouldn't have been advocating for, or groups I wouldn't have been advocating for previously. So next week I'm going to Flint, Michigan to serve during my alternative program. So I feel like this internship has definitely changed the way that I advocate for others and how I see that I can do that in different ways.
No, you don't. Nobody else want? Touch on that?
Can you guys hear me? Okay. So as a political science major, I teach politics all the time. I can't help it. So when it came to after this internship, I was able to inform my family as well as my peers about what's going on in the environment and in politics today. Because it's so important for people to understand what's going on. Even though people in low-income neighborhoods, they have a tendency to not really pay attention to the politics of the environment and so on and so forth. So I learned myself to, whenever I see family members or see my colleagues, hey, you do this internship because it'll give you a different look on life. Because I never thought that I would be doing anything with the environment. I thought I was going straight to the White House. Yeah, I was straight to the White House. So this has really opened up many doors for me, so that's how I took this internship.
Good morning. My name is Arthur Tottenham with the Environmental Protection Agency. I don't have a question, just a general comment. Listening to you guys, I couldn't help but reflect on the movie Hidden Figures. I hope that the panelists have had an opportunity to see that movie. If you haven't, you can get the book and read it. But I just want to encourage you to continue to follow your dreams, and I wish you the best of luck.
I do have a question. I do not work for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I work for a nonprofit called Hudson Valley, partner of Yay, the National Park Service, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And this is actually from the high schoolers. Okay, Roger, sorry. A basic question, because I deal with a lot of students who, like myself, when I started off as a youth in the program that I now run, a lot of students I deal with are from open backgrounds, who are from Yonkers, New York. Yeah. So how can I guide my students to get involved in these programs? Because especially with this hiring freeze at the moment, I have a couple seniors who I was pushing last year to go for these jobs, so they literally can't. How would they, like after they college about it, how would they get involved in these programs, like MES, and what's the, we want to ask a question for you guys, like what's the application process? Like how did you hear about it, how did you know about it, and what guided you towards it, and then ultimately, before applying or hearing about the program or going through the program, did you think about environmental jobs or environmental careers beforehand?
How I started off was I was doing research on various internships, and I got a little bit of insight from Betsy Price from my hometown, and she connected me with them. And the application process was fairly easy. It was really fun to do, so it was something that I actually wanted to do. So I helped out in the long run, and it was overall a great experience. I actually really better. So kind of summed up to college.
Okay, so it's kind of funny how I found this internship. I had injured my, okay, I would get a little background. So I had injured my knee in football, so I had stopped playing in the spring. So I was looking around, so I was drop football, I was going to start doing internships. So one day I was going around campus, I was like, just let me go around campus and ask my advisors for if they know any internship. And I was talking to Dr. Ward, my mathematics advisor at the time, going to have an internship, and she said no at the time, and she had to come back later. So as I was walking out the door, Mr. Brown had called her and said, did you have anybody that was looking for an internship? So I was like, yeah, like, let them know that I want it. So she told him, and I went through the process, and that's pretty much how I found it. It has been like changing for me. So that's
I heard about it through, two ways. An email was sent to my high school, which is not high school, my college. And it was like a blasted email, but a lot of the times, if you have a college email, it's bombarded with emails, or at least bumping in back to back to back to back. So sometimes it can be hard keeping up with the newest internship, or what to apply for, or how, or what can interest you, because you can easily delete something if it doesn't fit what you think, or because I'm an English major and it may have said environmental science, something I'm hitting for. Because I didn't think that was something that I wanted to do, or before this internship, that wasn't what my mouth was open to. But also it's about connections, so you can be friends, or people who know somebody, That's how I heard about it.
Okay, so a little background. My major before I became a college, my major was biology. So I changed it because it was a lot of math, and I was really not that math. So I had went to a community and regional development open house, and that's when I gained my likeness for environmental science. So I went to my career development officer, and she told me about the NISA program. So I was like, okay, so I applied for the NISA program for the general counsel office, because I was a political science major. And I did the interview and all that, but I guess someone was a senior and I was a freshman. So they chose them for me, but they did they sent my resume and all of my application stuff to Mr. Clarence, and this one put it down. So that's how I got it.
My application process, my division chair of natural science and mathematics, he informed me about the internship. I was late in the application process, turned it in, but I didn't want to do it, to be honest. Because I'm a math major, I'm just like, I don't want to be in the field, I don't want to work with plants, I don't want to do it. Okay, I didn't want to do it. But then when I got to Savannah State University, with my colleagues, about Saturday morning, math is used every day of life. You had to have it. But you wouldn't know if the water was cold or not. You don't know. So, and that's how I heard about the internship, and I really it sounds like the application process, all you need is your name, first class.
Not quite that simple, but.
Hi, so how I heard about it was through a first year seminar where we talked about internship opportunities and just how to get our feet in the water. And there was a chemistry teacher at the time who notified us about Mr. Parent's specific program. And at the time I was a freshman, so I kind of just wanted to go into anything. I didn't know what to do at the time. And so when I heard about it, I just went to her office. She wrote my recommendation for me. And the application process mainly focused on just asking you what environmental factors are you interested in, if there's any experiences that you had or experience that you wanted to get into. And I put in my input on that, and after that,
So, let me just real quick. So, essentially what happens is we recruit from schools around the country, minority serving institutions. But the one thing that I noticed, especially in the early years, and it was echoed here, students are really unsure about what they want to do. And so I kind of try to latch onto those students. Because I mean, if you have somebody that's like really environmental science, they're like really environmental science, and everybody else is kind of clowning. And so the unique thing about this program is we actually will accept students from any major. And that's what the presentation was about, 6 paths, 1 destination, because it was 6 different majors. And so our biggest thing is, are you interested in environmental justice? Are you interested in environmental science? Are you interested in doing things for the environment? And if you're interested in that, then the application asks you what your former research experience was and what your interest is in environmental research. And so we utilize that to collect applications, an online application, and we collect applications and we go through the review process, and then we try to match them up with labs or offices that kind of match that interest. And so I'd be willing to talk to you afterwards. But in this case, it worked out really great, and you can see here why we was excited to accept and do this presentation, because you can see how varying backgrounds, I mean, they didn't have any clue about it, and it was like, wow, I was able to be value added to that lab. So.
Good afternoon. Excellent presentation, just outstanding. I'm Dr. David A. Padgett, Director of the Geographic and Information Sciences Lab at Tennessee State University. Excellent program also. I know you all were nervous about presenting to this audience, but I would encourage you to perhaps do these same presentations for a much tougher audience, and that's younger people. No disrespect to the more seasoned members of the audience here, but you all would not believe the impact that you would have at your age to people 12, 13, 14, 15 years of age. I could go to middle school and all they see is an old dude with gray hair. You go to that same middle school, child that's maybe at 12, they can see themselves being used 6 years from now, easily. So we might already be doing it, but I would encourage you to take the exact same presentation, break them down a little bit, brothers. Especially this. Break it down a little bit. And that's the challenge. When you can get somebody 12, 13, and 8 years old to understand what you're talking about, that's when you truly become an educator. And I hope you all will do that wherever you happen to be. If you're in Atlanta, Elizabeth City, even if you're from Durham and you're not from Atlanta, reach out to some schools in Atlanta and do these exact same presentations. Our young people need to see you, so they can be sitting where you are 5 or 6 years ago. Excellent presentation.
echo everyone saying you guys did a tremendous job, and I hope that you just pursue your dreams and follow your ambitions and don't let anything stand in your way. I was curious because I've been out of college for 18 years. What your peers, your sense of what your peers feel about what's happening currently. Is there a sense of urgency you feel? Do you recognize, politically and just these issues of how important the environment is, how biased, how important it is? Like, what's your sense of what's going on campus with young people? Because really all of us are here doing our work, but we're going to depend on all of you to follow through and keep pushing these important issues.
Well, I would say that everything overlaps. So, I would say that everything overlaps. Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. So yeah, everything overlaps, and especially being a Black woman. This summer was hard. Maybe I'm going off on a little tangent. I hope I'm not. But okay, thank you. This summer was hard because we had the Orlando Castillo shooting, and we had the Austin Sterling shooting. So sometimes it's hard to advocate for something else when you don't even advocate. So I think it's a process to that too, and because I'm a part of a marginalized group, I can see how the issue with the water pipeline, I don't know what it's called. Yeah. So that in Flint, Michigan, those are two issues that really sparked to me because those intersected my two identities as like race and gender, and like it's a multi-layered experience. So I think it's steps to that, and it's steps for people to get as first getting those human rights, then advocating for others, and then so it's just a lot to that. So that's a big question.
Being that I'm a Shawnee woman and I'm not going to miss this opportunity, that there's a lot of tribal people in town this week, and if you go down to the mall, you'll be able to meet some of my brothers and sisters that are in here to speak to the issues of water is life. And so the TPs are on the mall, go down and be with them this evening. The march is on the 10th, so don't go to that in the daytime because we need you here. But water is life, so I just wanted to share that because you brought that up. Thank you. Yes. We're all in this together, and the Dakota Access Pipeline has done one thing. It's brought up the need to stand together on common issues. Water is life. Thank you.
Wyoming Tennessee State University. Following the sister right here, a wonderful Indian mantra is, earth does not belong to man, man belongs to the earth. Clearly, this is what this is about. But the earth belongs to you all, because you're going to have it after we're gone. And it's so important to hear your passion for what you're doing. My question to you is very personal. Once you matriculate and you get a job and you start raising your children, how do you change your personal life to be in line with what you know to be correct environmentally? It's the difference between having a theory and applying it every day in your life. One of the things that Black middle class people do not do is they're not too excited about recycling. I don't know what that's about. Somebody please give me an answer. But what are y'all going to do personally to figure this out? Because you'll make that transition to being a middle class person and say, I'm not going to mess with that record and mess with recycling stuff. That's beneath me. What do you do personally to change your life?
Hi, okay, so for an understanding, I know that with a lot of college students, especially Black college students, we tend to go out and serve these nice jobs, get a good amount of money, and we tend to forget about the community that needs our existence or help. And I feel like in terms of my area, I live in a city called the West End, and it is a food desert, and we have local schools that aren't really funded or don't really have the resources to prosper like other schools that have more money. And so I feel like just simply coming back and just educating the schools, the children from their startup is really important, because I know that with areas like a food desert, they're now starting to do community gardens, they're starting to do little projects, but just having students come in and volunteer efficiently into those schools will really open their minds up.
I just want to piggyback on that real quick. That's a great question, and I have to say my son embarrassed me into recycling. So you're absolutely right. I mean, we were somewhere, and this is probably, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, and they were saying, well, don't y'all recycle? And my son said, no. So he embarrassed me into recycling, so we've been recycling ever since. Well, we thank y'all for,
Sorry. Good morning, everyone. My name is Halston Sleets, and I am the Environmental Justice Policy Aide for the Mayor of Minneapolis. And I am so happy to see a panel of Black people. Oh my God, students who are focused on environmental justice. I enter these spaces in these rooms, I'm usually only the only black person there or person of color. So I think it's a beautiful thing. I used to be an English major, so there's room and space for you after like 8 years of environmental science, but your voice is needed. I just want to let you guys know, this has been so inspirational for me. Like, my heart is just so full and happy to hear like everything you guys are doing. And I just had a quick question. Everyone's touched on this, so I don't want to really echo it, but are there any specific plans you guys have to let students of color, specifically black students, know more about these careers, that these pathways, these careers exist? Because if we don't see ourselves in these spaces, we don't even know they're there. So if you had any specific plans to, again, additionally advocate for us being in these spaces to youth, do you have any plans on that?
So, y'all know I'm close on this. So right now, I'm trying to become a junior senator for our Student Government Association, because I believe that even though I'm a sophomore, if I have the right platform, I'll be able to touch all the students. So I believe that will be my platform to be able to inform all our students on what's going on, especially the junior class, because we have to have programs every month. So that would be a way that I'll be able to incorporate the student life as well as environmental science, so that they're aware of what's going on in not only Alabama, but their hometowns as well, because there's a lot of people from Chicago, Michigan, California that goes to my school, even though it's Alabama. So that would be a way that I'll be able to incorporate all of that together so that everyone is informed of what's going on.
thank you, everybody.
Do you want to go to that microphone and have some final comments? We've got a couple minutes here. You guys were awesome. Absolutely awesome. This is great. I'm going to close out here so you can exit, but go ahead.
Thank you, Carolyn. My name is Leslie Price, and I am from South Carolina, and I work for a corporate office called AECOM. And I want to commend Mr. Brown and Melinda Downey. All of this starts with a passion with people in jobs that don't see it as a job, but they recognize the need. At AECOM, which has a site where we employed some of these students on the panel, and we've done that a number of years, and that is through the efforts of Melinda Downing and Clarence Brown. One of the things that we ask for when someone is going to hire on with us, nothing that you all would ask for, is what is your experience in that area? This kind of experience allows a gateway pretty quickly for these students getting great jobs. But I also want to encourage these students, as someone has already said, to make other presentations. I was at an MIS conference in Virginia. One of the students, like you, made a presentation. Business person in the audience. That business person went up to the student and said, I want to help you get a full ride to get your PhD right on the spot. And that occurred. This young lady is working on her PhD. But it's all because of people who lead this process, along with the National Environmental Justice Board. All this comes together, but it has to be people working together. One seed allows you to plant another seed and another seed, but you can't have information and let it rest within. You've got to spread the knowledge. I want to commend you, but help us spread the word about what this does. We do not, as Kiara said in Spelman, we do not have enough people like you in our workplace. I can see the numbers in our lab. We want more, and we can do more with your spreading the word. Thank you.
One of our board members. Let me just say, we're going to break, and I want to remind you that this is a great time to make more connections. This is a great time to make more connections, to meet people, to find out what they do at the various agencies, to find out which path that they took. And so we encourage it. I love the way, I think it was you here, that there was a question about representation, and you said, the question was, why does representation matter? And your answer was, because it does. Because it does. So with that, we have a brief break. Then I need to get you back in the room. You'll come back here at 10 a.m. and we have our next panel, which is resiliency, people, planet, and community. But in the interim, enjoy making connections. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.